Zhixu has traveled through time and started on his escape route. She endured both drought and military disasters, even if she looked ugly. What kind of ghost is having a child out of wedlock and fleeing the wilderness with her child? Fortunately, she was bound to an unremarkable facial recognition system, and on the way to escape, she used cheats, created top-notch faces, raised children, and lived a relaxed and enjoyable life. Encountering a pack of wolves, you must eliminate them. Encountering bandits, the dove occupies the magpie's nest. Encountering little Gongye Luo ChiLu Zhixu had a puzzled expression on his face. Although he was quite handsome, I just wanted to go to my father and leave my son to pursue a career. How could I break it? Mother, I want my dad, said the cute baby with a milky voice. Chapter 1. I heard that you are going to sell my son. You are listening at novel full.audio. Mother, my sister.in.law is shameless. If she had children out of wedlock, she should have thrown her and that wild seed away and let them live and die on their own. What are you saying, from the second strong family? Zhang covered her heart and angrily asked her daughter.in.law, who do you say is shameless and who is a wild seed? Shu's face was displeased. Who doesn't have face? I'll say who. In the past, in the village, we were just as benevolent as our sister.in.law couldn't lift our heads. When we fled, we took her with us. It was my sister.in.law who was not good at her own health, and who could we blame? Shu looked taken for granted and even reached out to poke his man. Dazhuang licked his cracked lips and said in a hoarse voice, Mom, little sister looks like she's dying. Fart. Zhang cursed loudly, with an abnormal blush on her pale face. She looked at her dying daughter not far away and said, This is your own sister, Bauer is your own nephew. You're going to throw them away. Are you still human? Dazhuang's throat seemed to be on the verge of getting angry. Take a look yourself. She's about to breathe. Can we take a dead person with us on the road? Bauer is just a wild seed with an unknown father. Why should we raise her? That's right. Gongye, who was not far away, took over the conversation and said with a strange tone, My dear family, we are fleeing from danger, not just wandering around the mountains and rivers. Anyway, we can't survive either. We'll die sooner or later. It's better to throw it away as soon as possible. Gung couldn't help but swallow his saliva. He heard that children's meat is tender and even more delicious than dog meat. Okay, why don't you do anything about human affairs? It turns out someone is instigating you. Zhang wiped away her tears and pointed at Dazhuang, cursing, Your sister hasn't died yet. You want to throw her and Bauer away. Do you still have a conscience? Your surname is Lu, not their son.in.law from the Shi family. This matter was all instigated by Shi Laohan and Gongye. In-laws, what are you talking about? Gongye is a notorious shrew in the village, cursing people and calling her a slip. You have given birth to a daughter who is shameless and shameless. Why don't you let anyone talk about her? She's a daughter who hasn't stepped out of the cabinet, causing people to have a big belly. This is not a fact. She's about to lose her breath now, what's going on? Shi took the opportunity and said, Father and fellow villagers, everyone evaluate and judge. If it were peaceful now, it wouldn't be a big deal to have a child, but my sister.in.law is no longer capable. We can't raise the child anymore. We really can't live anymore, sob. The onlookers began to chatter incessantly. That girl from the Lao Lu family, who looks ugly and can even steal men, is also capable. This is also the escape. In peacetime, she and the cub she gave birth to had to be soaked in a pig cage. An old lady with a black and gray face pursed her lips, looking very disdainful. If you ask me, from the Jinshan family, you also think about the living. You have 2 sons and a granddaughter. That's right, you can't even find a place to cry when you put the whole family together for a wild seed. At present it is the 17th year of the Tianqi era, and the great Xia kingdom is experiencing the dual baptism of war and drought. On the way to escape, there are starving people everywhere, and they are willing to change their children and eat. Moral propriety, righteousness, integrity, and shame seem particularly ridiculous and worthless in the face of human nature. My daughter won't die. Zhang's eyes were crimson, like a lioness guarding her cubs. Who dares to touch my Zhixu and Bower? We'll fight hard, she said, shameless scoundrel, still treated as a treasure, I'm sorry. Gong spat fiercely, as if seeing something disgusting. Zhang suddenly pounced and grabbed Gung's collar, slapping both of her mouths. Gung didn't react for a moment, and when he didn't want to be outdone. He grabbed Zhang's hair with his back hand and the two of them got into a fight. The people around quickly stepped forward to fight, and the scene was once very chaotic. Lu Zhixu never imagined that one day she would become a member of the crossing army, and as soon as she woke up, she would watch and eat her own melons. The night owl of her Grand Special Operations team turned into an unmarried village girl who had a son. The country she traveled to was called the Great Xia Dynasty, not the one she was familiar with. To be more precise, she must have traveled to parallel time and space. The original owner had an unmarried child and fled with a belly full, giving birth to the child on the way. The journey was bumpy, and the original owner exhausted his energy. The child died before reaching full moon. Lu Zhixu, a wandering soul, took advantage of the opportunity and crossed over to become an ancient Lu Zhixu with the same name and surname. As soon as he opened his eyes, he watched a big play. Unmarried children, village ants, military disasters, droughts, refugees. Oh, by the way, we also need to add an ugly girl. On the left face of the original owner, there is a scar that grows near the cheekbones, the size of a baby's fist, and it's quite unsightly. Very good, this is even more sloppy than starting with a bowl, the thief is useless. Lu Zhixu quietly stood up and walked towards the crowd of onlookers, watching the excitement. Stop fighting. Li Zheng is coming. A skinny little old man walked over and saw the group of people fighting in a ball. He was so angry that he jumped and said, "When is it? You're still fighting. Are you full?" Li is still quite prestigious in the village. He led the villagers to escape and survive, and everyone believed in him. Li Zheng spoke up, and both Zhang and Geng were pulled apart. Li Zheng, you come to evaluate and reason. We are all kind-hearted. That girl from the old Lu family is about to die. Before Geng could finish speaking, he saw Lu Zhixu standing in the crowd, warming up and exclaiming in surprise, "Ghost." The people around her were startled by her. Where is there a ghost in broad daylight? Seeing the lively Lu Zhixu again, everyone looked surprised. Is this okay? Zhixu. Zhang saw her daughter and said, "Are you okay?" That's great. Zhang's hair was also messy and there were bloodstains on her face from being scratched by Geng. However, as soon as she saw her daughter recover, she immediately forgot about all of this. Oh my God, I was dying in the morning, but now I'm actually better. Could it have been fake before? No, my face is as white as a ghost and I can't pretend. Li Zheng waved his hand and said, "All right, calm down a bit." Li Zheng walked up to Lu Zhixu and glanced at her. "Girl, are you okay?" "Uncle, I'm fine now." Li Zhenglu Yinshan was the second uncle of the original owner, and the father of the original owner, Lu Jinshan, passed away 3 years ago. Li Zheng nodded and said, "Since it's okay, when we're on our way to find food, let's put in some effort. Let's escape together in the whole village. We need to huddle together to survive." He looked around and looked at the others, saying, "If I know who bullies the good and fears the evil, bullies the widow's nest, don't blame me for driving him out and letting him survive on his own." The villagers could all hear that Li was supporting the Lu family's mansion. Although the two houses had already separated and Lu Jinshan was gone, after all, he couldn't write 2 Lu characters in one stroke, breaking bones and connecting tendons. As a farce was about to come to an end, Zhixu stood in front of Dazhuang and Shi, second brother, second sister. In law, I heard you're going to sell my son. Chapter 2. System Emergence. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Dazhuang's face was not very good. Looking, and Shi was also flirtatious. She said with a strange tone, "Little sister, don't blame us either. Living in these years is too difficult. You were so scary back then, who knew you could still survive?" Dazhuang tugged at his wife and said, "What are you talking to her about?" He looked at Zhixu with a haughty expression and said, "Zhixu, if you're okay, just do more work and don't trouble others all day long. Also, you better keep an eye on that wild seed." Before he could finish speaking, Zhixu suddenly swung his fist and slammed it fiercely into the face of Dazhuang. Dazhuang was completely unprepared and was knocked down, almost falling to the ground. The people around were all dumbfounded, and no one reacted. However, Zhixu did not let go of Dazhuang's plan. He took a step forward and grabbed Dazhuang's collar. He arched left and right, slapping him several times. Dazhuang's face quickly turned red and swollen, and his nose also bled. His face was covered in blood, making him look particularly frightening. He struggled several times but couldn't break free from Zhixu's hands, and he didn't know where she came from with such great strength. Shi was the first to react and rushed towards Zhixu, shouting loudly, "Do you dare to bully my man?" Shi originally thought that when Zhixu had just recovered from his serious illness, he must have had little strength, but to his surprise, Zhixu showed no mercy and kicked her over with one foot. Shi let out a groan and fell with all 4 feet facing upwards. "I don't care what you two have in mind, I warn you not to think of my son. You can scold me, but if you dare to scold my son as a wild seed, I will take your life." Zhixu's gaze darkened as he shouted, "I have died once. I have gone crazy, and no one can stop me." Her words were warning the Dazhuang family and also warning the other people in the village. "Well done." Zhang gathered her hair and said, "A pair of white-eyed wolves." Dazhuang seemed unwilling and was about to compete with Zhixu again, but he was hit by Zhixu's shoulder and fell directly to Shi's side. The couple's falling postures were almost rare, both with their feet facing upwards, feeling extremely embarrassed. Gongye saw her daughter being bullied, her eyes rolled, and she threw herself on Shi, crying loudly, "Bullying people, you old Lu family bullies people. Those who have long eyes can see what's going on, Gong is being so troublesome and unreasonable. Why, do you also want to taste the taste of a fist?" Zhixu waved his fist, "Don't think I dare not hit you. If you scold my son again, I will break your teeth." Gong was shocked and said, You dead girl, how can you talk to your elders?" Zhixu spat at her and said, "Do you have an elder like you?" He rushed over and was about to hit. "Li Zheng, don't you care? Oh, there's been a fatality, it's really amazing." Gong kept rolling and crawling, avoiding Zhixu, desperately trying to hold Li Zheng's thigh, almost pulling his pants off. The onlookers laughed heartily and gained a new understanding of Gong's lack of skin and face. "If you make any more noise, get out." Li Zheng pulled his belt tightly and widened his eyes. "I want to see if you can walk to Fengyang Mansion alone without the old and young men in the village." Upon hearing this, Gong immediately got up from the ground and said, no more trouble, jokingly, if we didn't follow everyone, their family would be old and small, only waiting for death. After she finished speaking, she gave Zhixu a fierce glare before returning to her own home. "Let's all be scattered. Let's all be scattered." The village chief only said, "There's nothing serious, let's rest quickly. If they can't find water, they'll have to continue on their journey. We'll have to keep everyone alive." The villagers had enough of the excitement and returned to their respective resting places. This time, they had a different view of Zhixu. After all, he became a mother and had a much harder temper. "Do you still have a headache, Gigi?" Zhang was very nervous about her, as if afraid she would faint, and carefully supported her. Zhixu has some resistance towards Zhang's cheap mother, but she has already worn it, which is an unchangeable fact. Since she has taken over the body of the original owner and inherited her memories, she must take care of her family and live well. With this thought, my mood has broadened a lot and I no longer feel conflicted. It's okay, I'm already fine. Zhixu lowered his head, but the character, Nyang, couldn't be called out. Zhang let out a long sigh of relief and said, "That's good, hurry back and rest." The mother and daughter returned to their resting place at home. As soon as Li saw them back, she quickly asked, "Zhixu, come and lie down for a while. You're just sick, don't get tired." "Yes, Zhixu, listen to your sister.in.law. "Thank you, sister.in.law. I'm fine now." Li whispered, "Don't worry, the child just finished breastfeeding and fell asleep." The original owner had no milk, and the child was being fed by the Li family. Li's daughter, De Yen, was only 2 years old. For the sake of the original owner's child, the little girl couldn't eat a single bite and followed the adults to gnaw on the steamed buns every day. "Thank you, sister.in.law, Zhixu's face burned and he sincerely thanked Li again. "Zhixu, why are you so polite to me? We are all family, thank you." Li said, "You should rest for a while, don't get angry and damage your body." At this moment, Dazhuang and Shi also returned. Dazhuang had a blue nose and swollen face, looking very miserable. Shi lay on the side, his head drooping and he didn't speak. Zhixu looked at them with a cold snort and didn't say anything. Zhang's face was also not very good looking. Her youngest son, who was bewitched by his wife's family, was so foolish that he helped outsiders calculate the family's affairs. He was as foolish as a pig. Dazhuang was afraid of Zhixu's fist and could only stare at her with resentment. Zhixu was too lazy to pay attention to him, so he turned his head and lay next to a small swaddle. A wrinkled, red little one was sleeping soundly. Zhixu's eyes lit up and she almost shed tears. She leaned over to look at the child's eyebrows and eyes, but the sadness in her heart was gradually amplified. She knew that it should be the emotions of the original owner, a mother's reluctance and concern for her child. "I will take good care of this child for you. Don't worry, he is my biological child." Zhixu silently made a promise and was thinking of taking a break when a piercing electronic noise suddenly rang out in his mind. Host consciousness awakened, binding. Zhixu was almost sent away by its sharp electronic sound, and even the systems given by the thief were so unreliable. She almost became the first host to be bound and notified to be blocked. After calming his mood, Zhixu felt the addition of a technologically advanced light sensing panel in his mind, and the progress bar on it became 100%. Congratulations to the host, the facial recognition system has been bound. We look forward to the host showcasing their skills and making a comeback. Chapter 3. The Demolition of Brother Qin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I haven't even heard of the facial recognition system. System, what functions do you have? Do you have a shopping mall? Do you have a beginner's gift package? Zhixu has read many articles about the time travel system in her previous life, and she decided to explore the system's secrets first according to her familiar routine. This system is a face recognition system. The higher the face recognition efficiency, the higher the points. The points can be exchanged for goods in the mall or used for lucky draws. Within 72 hours, there are 3 effective face recognition events, also known as the slap effect, and you can receive 1 lucky draw. Currently, your initial points are 0, and the number of lucky draws is 0. Pop. It's really a good system, good car skills, and she suddenly showed off. What about the beginner gift package, distribution in progress, please pay attention to receiving. A golden light suddenly flashed in Zhixu's mind, and the items in the novice gift package also appeared in his mind. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 points. The current points are 10. We have one chance to win a lottery. The host is currently in a famine era and has specially prepared 5 types of food for the host, namely 10 pounds of sweet potatoes, 10 pounds of sorghum, 10 pounds of flour, 10 pounds of miscellaneous grain noodles, and 10 pounds of potatoes. Can the system store other items? The original owner had a small wooden box containing several of her most cherished items, and she didn't want to lose them. This system can only store items in the system mall for free. For storing external items, points will be deducted. Zhixu negotiated with it and said, as a system, should you serve the host and strive for maximum benefits? The host lives in fear, how could you have the intention to pursue a career? System. It makes sense, but I always feel like something's wrong. Zhixu communicated with it, you help me collect things, and I promise to make you the most capable system in the world and the universe. The system remained silent for a while before mechanically saying, deal. Zhixu felt with joy that the small box hidden in the package had been systematically collected into the light curtain. By the way, I have another chance to draw. As soon as Zhixu's consciousness was transmitted, a huge turntable appeared in her mind. There was a button under the turntable, and she pressed it with her control consciousness. The turntable spun rapidly and finally stopped on a narrow grid with 5 big characters written on it. Dragon Spirit and Tiger Mighty Pill. I'll be good, what system is this? Driving so proficiently, one after another after sensing her thoughts, the system immediately shouted a warning to Zhixu. This system is a legitimate system, please do not have those messy thoughts on the host. Zhixu raised his eyebrows and said, can you explain what Dragon Spirit and Tiger Ferocity are? This is a potion that can repair the host's body and mind, allowing the host to have a physique comparable to that of a special forces soldier, and the spiritual willpower is far beyond that of an ordinary person. Zhixu had an extra pill in her hand, and she quietly put it in her mouth. Before she could swallow it, the pill turned into water. A warm current swept through my body, and my body, which had been almost exhausted due to difficult childbirth, now shines with vitality, as if years of illness have gone, making me several years younger. Please make an effort to earn points by showing your face. The mall can only be opened when the host's points reach 50 points. Zhixu really wants to curse people. No, it's cursing the system. Suddenly, cheers came from the camp, and Zhixu looked up as if the person looking for water had returned. The cheers were quickly replaced by screams, and some people sat on the ground crying and howling loudly. Zhang's face stiffened and she immediately said, there's an accident. She quickly got up and ran towards the place where the accident occurred. After thinking for a moment, Zhixu handed the child to Li Shi and followed suit. From a distance, I could hear someone crying and saying things like wolf packs and saving people. When the mother and daughter pushed through the crowd and walked in, they found that the paparazzi who came back to deliver the letter was covered in injuries. Lu Yinshan's face was as black as a pot. At this moment, a mechanical sound from the system suddenly rang in Zhixu's mind. Trigger an SS-level mission, eliminate the wolf pack, and rescue the villagers, none of them are missing. If the mission is successful, reward 50 points. If the mission fails, the host will experience colic for 24 hours. Zhixu. I didn't expect you to have such a system. It's quite enjoyable to play. His second uncle, what happened? Lu Yinshan glanced at Zhang Shi and said in a low tone, the person looking for water has encountered a pack of wolves, and the dog boy has risked his life to come back and deliver the letter. Zhang's eyes darkened and she almost fell. Fortunately, Zhixu was right beside her and quickly reached out to help her. What are they doing now, Dazhuang? Li Zheng, we need to go save people. The people who go out to search for water are all young adults in the village, the backbone of every family. If they can be saved, of course, they must be rescued. But the question now is, who will go and save it? That's a pack of wolves. These people used to only have the chance to die. Besides, I don't know if Dazhuang and his team are still alive. What's the use of sending someone to rescue them in case everyone dies? Maybe we need to involve the people behind us as well. This was also a headache for Li Zheng, and everyone looked at each other with different thoughts. Li Zheng, hurry up and send someone to rescue me. My eldest and second children have all gone. Just a little later, it won't be too late. The dog doll also said, Grandpa Li Zheng, if it's too late, we won't be able to make it. Those who are pleading for help are all those who come from their families to help, while those who sit back and enjoy the benefits are all evading the task of saving people with evasive eyes. If you ask me, what can be saved? Maybe people are dead by now, and if they go, they can only feed wolves. That's right, don't drag us if you want to die. It's a disaster year now, and even wolves can't eat enough. If you ask me, let's hurry up and leave. If those wolves smell and come over, we'll be in dire straits. Yes, let's go. Zhang couldn't bear to listen anymore and cursed loudly, are your conscience eaten by dogs? Are the children going out to find water to drink for themselves? The whole village has a share. You drink the water the children found and turn your head to watch them die, is it human? Gongye had just suffered a loss at Zhang's hands, and immediately jumped out to argue against Zhangshi, whose life is not life. Can we insist on letting everyone save your son? Anyway, her family has not sent anyone to seek help, what are you afraid of? That's right. They all belong to the villagers, should they be so vicious? We didn't ask them to go. Upon hearing the agreement, Gongye immediately became proud, but he was only proud for 3 seconds before being kicked from behind and falling into a dog's excrement. Who kicked me? Gongye scolded loudly. After seeing clearly that it was Zhixu, he immediately shut up and got up from the ground in frustration. Uncle Heir, I'm going to save someone. Zhixu looked at everyone, is there anyone else with me? The dog got up and said, I'll go. Zhixu, you really don't know what to do. Dazhuang was just a little expert at dismantling the situation. He sneered and said with a strange tone, it's not that my second brother looks down on you. If you can save someone, I'll write my name upside down. If I don't even eat anything in the future, I'll eat shit. Chapter 4. You wait to eat shit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Take a look, didn't you proactively come knocking on the door with this impressive performance? The system is also very excited. Host cheers, hits him hard in the face, redeems points. Zhixu sneered and said to Dazhuang, you wait to eat shit. Dazhuang's face was not particularly ugly. Zhixu ignored him and turned to look around, saying to the crowd, we all came out together to escape the disaster. We should help each other. Today, regardless of the people who are looking for water, the young and strong will all have an accident in the future. Can you still live alone? In a disaster year, there will be a military disaster, and the people will not be able to make a living. When they encounter wolves, you will watch coldly. When you encounter bandits and ruffians, who can protect you? Her loud voice made the onlookers shrink their necks. Lu Yinshan's eyes were full of admiration. Although his niece had done a lot of foolish things, at this moment, she possessed the character of his elder brother. I'll go. I'll go too. Count me in. The family still wanted to stop us, but the man also spoke up with loyalty and loudly said, Miss Lu is right. We are all grasshoppers on the same rope. If we don't save people now, we will encounter difficulties in the future. Who will save us? This statement is reasonable, and now 5 or 6 people have joined in. Zhixu looked around and asked everyone to find the weapons they could use at hand. Some people hold sickles, some hold axes, and some pick a handy wooden stick and hold it as a weapon. Zhixu took the bow and arrow, carried the quiver on his back, and pinned the chopping knife to his waist, instructing Zhangshi, Mother, you don't have to worry. Take care of the child with my sister. Law, and I will definitely rescue my elder brother. The father of the original owner, Lu Jinshan, came from a hunting background and knew some martial arts. When he was alive, the life of the Lu family was very prosperous, and all three children learned skills from him. Although Lu Zhixu is a daughter, he never dares to be careless in learning kung fu and archery. But even so, she is still a woman and has just given birth. How could she have repelled the wolf pack? Zhang's words reached her mouth and she swallowed them again. It was already time, and she could only cheer her daughter on and not let her down. Moreover, if Zhixu could save people, her reputation would not be as unpleasant as before. Zhixu, you must be good. Zhang shook her daughter's hand. Lu Zhixu nodded and said, Mom, wait for us to come back. She let go of Zhang's hand and shouted, the dog doll leads the way, everyone else follows, run forward, don't fall behind. Lu Zhixu quickly left the camp with his people and ran towards the place where the water was collected. The paparazzi was injured and couldn't run after running a few steps, but he gritted his teeth and persisted. Lu Zhixu communicated with the system with a stern face, life is at stake, can't you please accommodate it? Sorry host, we can only rely on you this time. Lu Zhixu was furious and suddenly remembered that he had 10 points. Perhaps the lottery could draw something useful for him. System, I want to draw a lottery. The familiar big wheel reappeared, and the mechanical sound of the system carried a hint of sadness. Dormitories should be cautious, as each lottery will consume 5 points. Lu Zhixu gritted his teeth and said, lottery. The big wheel turned again and quickly came to a stop. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a solar-powered charging stick. This stick is small and exquisite, resembling a burning stick in shape. It can be long or short, with strong electricity, allowing the culprit to experience the flying feeling of lightning strikes. Lu Zhixu, who was marching in a hurry, slightly shook his body and his steps slowed down, almost falling. Li Jingdao quickly reached out and helped her, are you okay? I really can't take a break. Lu Zhixu's performance impressed him. It's okay, thank you, brother Li. We can't delay the time. Dog, how far is it? The dog panted heavily and said, just flip over the mountain ahead and you'll be there. When I ran back, many people were already injured. We need to hurry up. Lu Zhixu looked down at the dog doll and said, can you still persist? The dog panted heavily and nodded heavily, yes. Lu Zhixu smiled and handed him the last half of the bamboo tube of water on his body. Take it, hurry up, speed up. If you cross this mountain, you can bring your brothers back. I don't know why, but after hearing her words, everyone rushed up the mountain as if they had been beaten with chicken blood. Lu Zhixu also took the opportunity to make a second lottery, this time she drew life.Saving powder. This is a high-tech medicinal powder that can be taken orally or applied externally, for hemostasis, pain relief, anti-inflammatory and antibacterial purposes. Please use it properly as a host. It's really a conscientious system, what sent are all useful and good things. Lu Zhixu has just taken the dragon essence and tiger fierce pill, and at this time, her whole body is full of inexhaustible energy. Compared to her peak period in her previous life, her body is incomparable. With these two life.Saving items provided by the system, she is confident that she will bring back Lu Dazhuang and others safely. Quickly, everyone climbed over the mountain and followed a grassy path to the place where they were fetching water. From afar, Lu Zhixu smelled the smell of blood and quickly signaled for everyone to stop and lie on the ground. Gua, is that the front? The dog doll dared not speak and could only nod. He still remembers the scene of being chased and bitten by a wolf. If it weren't for Big Brother risking his life and waving his firewood knife to save him, he would have been bitten to death. Lu Zhixu signaled to everyone to be careful. She climbed forward 2 steps herself, opened up the withered grass, and looked into the distance. In the distance, more than a dozen wolves were grinning and circling under the tree. The bodies of 2 wolves lay on the ground, but no villagers were seen lying on the ground. Lu Zhixu looked up and saw several people standing on several large trees next to him. Some were holding branches, while others were sitting on thick branches. They were all members of the water search team, and the elder brother of the original owner, Lu Dazhuang, was also among them. Everyone was carrying some injuries to some extent, but fortunately, there were springs in the deep mountains that had not completely dried up, and these trees could only bear the weight without dying. Wolves are both cunning and cunning animals. They will never stop dying, Li Zhengdao whispered. They are all on the tree, so there is no danger at the moment. However, there are more than a dozen wolves, which is not easy to deal with. The dog doll was a bit anxious. Use fire to attack. No way. No way. Lu Zhixu and Li Zhengdao spoke out simultaneously, both of whom had the same opinion and opposed the proposal. Why? The paparazzi couldn't understand. If you use fire to attack this mountain, if you accidentally set it on fire, then we will be the culprits, Li Zhengdao muttered softly. Haven't you heard that sentence? Leave the green mountain here, you're not afraid of not having firewood to burn. Lu Zhixu nodded, as if agreeing to his words. He was not afraid of 10,000, just in case, they could not be this eternal sinner. The paparazzi looked at the wolves with his head up and said, so, what should we do? There are only 8 of them, including the injured paparazzi. There are over a dozen wolves on the other side. Chapter 5. Kill the Wolf. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Zhixu whispered, I'll rush out later, and you guys will pick up the leak behind me. Remember, be ruthless when you strike, preferably with a fatal blow. Gua, if you're injured, it's best to climb up a tree and hide, don't participate. No, with so many men around us, how can you stand out as a woman? Yeah, why don't I go? Although facing a dozen wolves, everyone was very scared, but everyone didn't want Lu Zhixu to take the lead. I have a way that you don't have, Lu Zhixu said. I can protect myself. All you need to do is disperse and go over and repair the knives when I kill those wolves. Li Zhengdao frowned. Previously, he had a slight improvement in his view of Lu Zhixu, but now her arrogant decision has once again made Li Zhengdao have an opinion of Lu Zhixu. This is not a joke, it's a matter of dying. Lu Zhixu said, for you, it's a loss of life, but for me, it's not. Brotherly, I hope you can all cooperate with me. Our goal is to save people, not to die unnecessarily. Li Zhengdao didn't know what to say this time, so he could only look at her with determination, as if waiting for her to change his mind. To their surprise, Lu Zhixu suddenly stood up and quickly charged towards the wolf pack. She rushed over without even saying a greeting. Li Zhengdao quickly held his weapon in his hand and instructed, Gua, hide it quickly, and the others will come with me to help. The few people who came here are all hunters, and their experience in hunting in the mountains cannot be said to be too rich. They have always competed with wild animals in the mountains. However, when faced with more than a dozen bad wolves, they still felt their scalp tingling, and their footsteps instinctively paused for a moment before slowing down. At this moment, Lu Zhixu had already rushed out, and the wolf pack had also noticed her. Immediately, 3 wolves turned around and rushed towards her. The people on the tree saw it and knew that someone had come to save them. When they saw clearly that the person rushing out was Lu Zhixu, they all exclaimed, and Lu Dazhuang almost fell off the tree. Lu Zhixu drew his bow and arrow, aimed at the head wolf, and then shot over. The arrow wind was fierce, piercing fiercely into the head wolf's eyes. The head wolf let out a mournful cry and fell to the ground unable to rise. In the blink of an eye, the other 2 wolves approached Lu Zhixu. Lu Dazhuang's heart was raised to his throat and he shouted loudly, be careful, Zhixu. Li Zhengdao and others were all stunned by Lu Zhixu's arrow. When they saw 2 wolves flying towards Lu Zhixu, they immediately followed and helped. However, Lu Zhixu did not give them a chance to take action. She pulled out the firewood knife with her back hand, knelt on the ground, slid forward, and tilted her body back. She inserted the firewood knife into the wolf's belly, stabbed it hard, and then pulled it hard. A wolf was forcefully split open by her with a firewood knife, and blood mist filled the sky. The screams and screams of the beast made its companion stop, daring to look and roar from afar, but not to take any further steps. Everyone was shocked, and in the blink of an eye, Zhixu dealt with two beasts with terrifying strength. They all looked down on her. At this moment, the Wolf King issued a urging command, and the wolf pack became restless. The wolves, who were originally circling around under the tree, began to attack in the direction of Zhixu. Li Zhengdao and others also rushed over, holding various weapons tightly in their hands and forming a small formation with their backs against their backs. "Are you okay?" "It's okay." Zhixu had a lot of wolf blood on his body, which looked quite scary. Those wolves surrounded them in groups, searching for opportunities to come forward, grinning and glaring fiercely, as if they were about to tear them all into their stomachs the next moment. Dazhuang was in such a hurry on the tree that he immediately went down to save people. "Big brother," Zhixu Yang said in a voice, "don't move. You all have injuries on your bodies, and coming down won't help much." As Zhixu spoke, she quietly raised her bow and slowly drew an arrow from the pouch behind her. She coldly arched and shot towards the nearest wolf. That wolf looked like a young and restless vanguard. If Zhixu doesn't shoot it, it may also find an opportunity to launch a surprise attack. Zhixu's arrow hit the wolf's neck, and it let out a scream and fell to the ground, screaming in pain. Upon seeing this, the Wolf King finally issued an order to attack. The wolves roared and rushed towards the crowd, not wanting to scare anyone. The arrow in Zhixu's hand is not vegetarian. She shot 2 arrows with a swish, then leaned her bow onto her body and took out the electric baton obtained from the lottery. The appearance of this electric stick looks like a burning stick, which is not eye-catching at all, but it is heavy and powerful. There is a button on the side of the stick, and as long as it is pressed, not only a wolf, but also an elephant, it is enough to drink a pot. Li Zhengdao and others also wielded weapons such as sickles and sticks to fight against wolves. Although their skills were not as agile as those of Zhixu, they could still rely on the weapons in their hands to fight back and forth with those beasts. Although they wore some small decorations on their bodies, the problem was not significant. Dazhuang and his team saw it on the tree and were somewhat relieved. The reason they suffered was because there was no one who could take advantage of it. "Brothers, we can't just wait on the tree for others to come and save us. We can also give some help." "Yes, it's a fight," a few people said as they were about to go down the tree. They could use their fists to smash it and always buy some time for their companions. Just as a few people were about to climb down the tree, the wolf pack suddenly heard a terrifying howl, which sounded like a wolf being choked by someone. "You guys, take a look." A few people followed along and their eyes widened, as if they had seen some incredible sight. I saw Zhixu waving a burning stick, 7 in and 7 out of the wolf pack. The fierce wolves met Zhixu and immediately let out a scream, then fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Li Zhengdao and others didn't need to give orders and immediately threw their weapons at the wolves. Either chopping with an axe or smashing with a stick, the flesh and blood became blurred in just a few strokes, and it was too dead to die anymore. The Wolf King, along with the remaining defeated soldiers, wanted to escape. Dazhuang shouted loudly, "Wolves are the most vengeful creatures, we cannot let them leave." The people on the tree quickly climbed under the tree, wanting to help. Zhixu was well aware of the temperament of wolves, and how could he easily let them go. She drew her arrow feathers again and aimed her bow at the injured and fleeing Wolf King. With a swoosh, the arrow left the string and fiercely penetrated the back of the Wolf King's spine. The unwilling and mournful howls came, and the legendary generation of the Wolf King finally came to an end. When the Wolf King dies, the other two wolves are like stray dogs, holding their tails and trying to escape. Unfortunately, due to bad luck, it collided with the hands of Dazhuang and others. Everyone threw their sticks down in chaos, and the two wolves swallowed their breath. In the end, the wolf pack was completely wiped out. Chapter 6. Return. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dazhuang and others looked at the dead wolves everywhere, unable to believe their own eyes. When they encountered a pack of wolves, they felt that they were more or less unlucky. They never expected that such a desperate situation could escape from the heavens. This is also thanks to Zhixu and his team. To be precise, it is thanks to Zhixu. She can be said to withstand 1,000 armies and horses alone. If it weren't for her sudden rise, these people would probably not be able to go back whole. Big brother, are you okay? As the name suggests, Dazhuang is tall and strong. His clothes are torn and tattered, all torn by wolf claws. Fortunately, he was not injured. It's okay. Dazhuang looked at landing Zhixu, 1,000 words stuck in his throat, unsure of which one to ask. He wants to ask little sister why you have become so bad, and he also wants to ask if your illness has improved. But in the end, not a single word was spoken. Dazhuang gu. The dog doll ran over crying, holding on to Dazhuang's waist and started crying. After all, he was only a half-year-old child, and after being frightened, he couldn't hold on anymore. Huh, what do you look like crying, kid? No eggs. Jiang Kuei said halfway and was hit in the abdomen by Dazhuang's elbow. It was only then that he remembered that Zhixu was still there. He let out a muffled groan and swallowed the rest. The paparazzi cried and laughed, embarrassed by everyone's words, and reached out to wipe away a tear. All right, everyone, hurry up and tidy up the water. Dazhuang said again, these wolves are all treasures. Although wolf meat is not delicious, it's better than having an empty stomach. Wolf skin can still make clothes. Fengshu, salad of assorted fresh vegetables. Jiang Kuei cried twice. Hurry up and work. Li Zhengdao was quite experienced. He led his men to chop off all the wolf heads and then pulled out the wolf king's wolf teeth, presenting them to Zhixu. This wolf tooth is for warding off evil, it's the wolf king's tooth, here it is for you. Zhixu told me that I didn't believe this, but Jiang Kuei turned the other way and said, go back and wash it clean, grind a hole, thread a rope and hang it on Baoer's body, bless him with safety. Upon hearing that Baoer could be brought, Zhixu picked it up and thanked Li Zhengdao, thank you, brotherly. Li Zhengdao's mood was a bit complicated at this moment. He had looked down on Zhixu before, completely because the girl from the Lu family was not clean and self-centered. But he has no position to accuse others of anything, at most it's just a lack of communication. Now this girl is truly impressive. Faced with a pack of wolves, she has courage, strategy, agility, and is even more decent than her father when he was young. As soon as Li Zhengdao thought that he had misunderstood her as trying to be too strong before, he started chatting up. He is usually silent and doesn't know what to say to a girl who is more than 10 years younger than him. He can only offer a pair of wolf teeth as a gesture of apology. Zhixu didn't even think about apologizing, nor did she feel anything wrong with Li Zhengdao's questioning of her. They didn't know she had traveled through time, but in their eyes, she was just a little village girl in her teens. How could she possibly have the ability to deal with wolf packs? Under normal circumstances, even a larger dog can shake people, let alone wolves. However, as a person, she always likes to speak with her strength. On the road to escape, there are many dangers, and in the future, such things may only happen a lot. Only with strong strength can you intimidate the enemy and silence those who question you. Many people have great power, and soon everyone peeled off the wolf's skin and cleaned up its flesh. The remaining inedible scraps have been buried in a deep pit by everyone. The smell of blood is too strong, so don't attract other wild animals. Let's go back. Go back. Today is really satisfying. This is enough for me to boast about for a lifetime. Let's pull it down, what's it to do with you? It was all the strength put in by the younger sister of the Lu family, and these people were just picking up the leak. Everyone was talking and laughing, exhausted all over their bodies, but there was something different in each person's eyes. Along the way, Lu Zhixu remained silent. She was looking happily at the freshly baked mall, feeling incredibly beautiful in her heart. Having completed the SS level task, Lu Zhixu immediately gained 50 points and successfully opened the mall. At the same time, he also gained some confidence. Although she still can't afford many things in the mall, points are earned by people, isn't it just a slap in the face? What's so difficult? Compared to Lu Zhixu's excitement, Lu Dazhuang's mood was incredibly uneasy. The three of them grew up together from a young age, and he knew her personality the best. She has been very thoughtful since childhood, and her scar-like personality has also become very strange. After giving birth to her baby, her reputation was ruined and she became even less fond of talking. She had no idea who the father of the child was. The younger sister in front of me has clearly not changed in appearance, but her temperament have completely changed. And her skills, clean and neat, without any fancy airs. Although the three of them learned kung fu from their father since childhood, Lu Zhixu's level was clear to him. Her three-legged kung fu was just enough to deal with the ruffians in the village. When encountering wolves, it would be good if they were not completely bitten. What's going on? He just went out to look for some water, and my sister seemed to be in a different person. Lu Dazhuang thought his skepticism was unnoticed by ghosts, but he didn't want Lu Zhixu's 5 senses to be sharper than ordinary people, and he had already discovered that something was wrong with him. Host, your vest is not safe anymore. Lu Zhixu rolled his eyes secretly. Is she still afraid of this? She was already prepared, right? The sky gradually darkened, and the group walked back to the campsite in the twilight. I'm back, Mom, my brother's back. Are you back? An old woman stood up trembling and looked at her son in the distance with tearful eyes. She burst into tears. Erden is back. Lu Yinshan stood up with excitement, his eyes full of anticipation. When he saw Lu Dazhuang, Gongye, and others returning, tears welled up in excitement. Okay. Just come back. These are all good young people in the village, they only have hope in the village. The campsite was filled with joy, the joy of surviving the disaster. Moreover, Lu Dazhuang and his team not only brought back water, but also wolf meat. The rest areas of other families are filled with laughter and joy, except for Lu Erzwang and Shi, who pull their faces as if they owe him money. It seems that someone will call Zhuang Erlu in the future, and they won't be able to eat yet. They'll have to eat shit instead. Lu Zhixu smiled and looked at Lu Erzwang with a provocative expression on his face. Lu Dazhuang frowned, not understanding where the gunpowder smell in the little sister's mouth came from. He turned his head to look at Zhang Shi and found that he had the expression you deserved, which made his heart even more puzzled. What's going on? He pulled his wife over and asked quietly. Li gently comforted Bauer, first sighing, and then recounted everything that happened when Lu Dazhuang went out to search for water. Finally, he said, it's okay if he doesn't go to save people. He even said cold words, saying that if the little girl can save you all, he will write his name upside down and eat shit instead of eating in the future. Lu Dazhuang heard his veins jump and suddenly stood up. Chapter 7. A Family in Need of Beating. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Dazhuang angrily approached Lu Erzwang and grabbed his collar, saying, Erzwang, how did I hear that you're going to bury your little sister and throw away your baby? Lu Erzwang is extremely guilty, but he has been lazy and slippery since childhood, so he is very good at changing topics. Big brother, it's none of your business. It's between me and Lu Zhixu. Lu Dazhuang frowned. Now he doesn't even call his younger sister by her first name anymore. Big brother, Zhuang Erlu is right. This is our business. You can step aside first and teach him a lesson later. It's not too late. Dazhuang didn't know what was on his mind, so he released his hand and quietly retreated to the side. Zhixu knew that Dazhuang was suspicious of her and wanted to observe her through this incident. Zhuang, as promised before, if I save the person, you can write your name upside down. If you don't eat in the future, you can eat shit instead. Did you remember? Zhixu didn't want to embarrass her man and immediately said, Zhixu, is there something wrong with you? Did you save the person? Why are you so proud? That's right. Zhuang immediately said, what kind of big head garlic are you filling? Zhixu, please order your face. It's just you with thin arms and legs. It's good not to let the wolf take it away. You can still save people. I saved people, Zhixu said truthfully, but no one believed it. Haha. Zhuang laughed back and forth, is it up to you? Yes, it's up to me. Zhixu saw many onlookers around and immediately exclaimed, Auntie, it's not that we look down on you. You can beat wolves and save Big Brother and his men. Humph, do you think this is cheating on men? Just use your fingers. After speaking, Zhixu looked at Zhixu with a proud expression, as if he was convinced that Zhixu wouldn't dare to do anything to her. Before Zhang and Dazhuang could react, Zhixu lifted his foot and kicked towards Zhixu. She only used 30% of her strength in this kick, and Zhixu was unprepared and was kicked 3 meters away, lying on the ground humming. It hurts me so much, it killed someone. Lao Tu and Gongye quickly ran over. They had been watching the excitement from the side before, but this time they saw their daughter being wronged and not hiding anything. They quickly came over to condemn Zhixu. Gongye had healed her scar and forgot about the pain, even starting to scratch Zhixu's hair. Unfortunately, Zhixu had already changed the core and would never be accustomed to this family like the original owner. She grabbed Gung's wrist and twisted it hard, causing him to make a pig-like cry and splash. Killed, shameless little girl Changfu, turned around. Zhixu held on to Gung's shoulder with one hand and grabbed his arm with the other. With a strong tug, he heard a click and Gung's arm swayed and hung down. Ah, my hand. Gung felt like her arm was about to break. Laohan stepped forward and helped her, blushing as he spat at Zhixu. You shameless Yaojia, you're embarrassing the old and young men of Shimen village. You guys should get out, he said. Zhixu was about to kick when he lifted his leg, but the old man was shrewd and quickly dodged to the side. However, he didn't know what he had stepped on, and his foot slipped, pulling Gongye down. Oh my waist. My arm. Shi quickly crawled over and cried, Dad, Mom. I don't know, I thought the 2 old people were suffocating. Zhang was originally quite angry, but upon seeing this incident, she immediately smiled and said with relief, well, the whole family doesn't have a well-intentioned product, and even the heavens can't bear to watch it. Do you think there's no one left in our Lu family? Shi's face turned pale with tears, looking very pitiful. Grandma, sister.in.law, you can't always bully people like us, can you? You still have the face to cry. What did we bully you for? It's not that your family has no moral character and sprays feces all day. Zhang was so angry that his head was smoking. It was your cold words about Gigi, you were the ones who cursed first. Dazhuang had a calm face. He was an uncle, so he couldn't hit his sister.in.law, could he? But the thought of what Shi had said before made his lungs explode with anger. How dare you say you dare not recognize? Most of the people in the entire camp were watching the excitement here, and Zhixu was extremely calm and not afraid of criticism. I still remember the words and farts that Zhuang said when I was going to save people. Zhixu extended his finger to Gua and pointed to several people who had been saved by her. Ask them who saved them. The dog doll glared at Shi and loudly said, it was Sister Lu who saved us. That's right. Li Zhengdao also walked over. It was Zhixu who saved everyone. Shi was taken aback for a moment and said, "It's impossible." Lu Erzwang sneered, Does she have that ability? Jiang Kuei couldn't bear to watch any more and immediately said, "The blood on your sister's body is all wolf blood." She used Uncle Lander's bow and shot several wolves. Later, she took the lead, and we followed behind her to clean up the mess. The Wolf King's teeth are still on her, and we can all testify to her. Yes. It was Miss Lu from the Lu family who saved us. Lu do you think everyone is as useless as you? Miss Lu is much stronger than you. Lu Erzwang looked at everyone like a fool and said, "It's impossible, you all talk to her." He seemed to have thought of something and smiled playfully. "Ah, I see. Are you having an affair with her? Maybe the female godfather is among you, saying, 'Who is the father of the wicked seed?'" He shouted vigorously, and the veins around his neck jumped up, spitting stars flying far away. Zhang couldn't hold back any longer and turned around to find something to beat up Lu Erzwang. Lu Dazhuang was faster than her, so he swung his fist and swung it towards Lu Erzwang. With one punch, Lu Erzwang's nose was smashed open, and his nosebleeds flowed wildly. Lu Erzwang's center of gravity was unstable and he fell directly to the ground. Lu Dazhuang pinched his neck, punching him left and right, causing the corners of his eyes to crack. His originally colorful face was more like a dyeing room, with a blue and purple hue. "Stop fighting, stop fighting." Shi wailed loudly, "Are you going to beat my man to death? Is there someone like you who is like a big brother?" Dazhuang. Zhang shouted with a black face, indicating that it was almost enough. He couldn't really kill someone, could he? Lu Dazhuang stopped his hand and stood up. Shi quickly rushed to Lu Erzwang's side and helped him up. Lu Erzwang's nose was blue and his face was swollen, and his eyes were blurry. The blood at the corner of his mouth couldn't be wiped away. Shi cried in pain and angrily shouted at Zhang and others, "Are you sick? It's time to escape. Can you afford to damage my man like this?" Woo-woo. Li Zheng walked over and looked at the chaotic situation in front of him. A wave of anger surged. "What's going on? You're idle." Shi filed a complaint and said, Zhuang is about to be killed by them. Li Zheng, they bully people. You don't care. Chapter 8. Sows climbing trees. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Yinshan looked at Lu Erzwang, who had turned into a pig's head, and at Shi, who couldn't lift him clearly. His headache was severe. He couldn't figure it out. When his older brother was alive, he was also a prominent figure from all over the country. Not to mention the sister Lao Zhang, who was famous for being industrious and forthright when he was young. After he married the Lu family, he respected his parents-in-law and treated his brothers and sisters kindly. Zhuang, this child also grew up on his own. He wasn't as unreliable as he is now when he was a child. Why is he so foolish now? Is it someone bullying you or can't you handle it yourself? Li Zheng looked coldly at Shi. Do you think I don't have ears or eyes? You two don't speak human language or do anything, and blame others for beating you. I've asked before, and people know how to save you. Don't be ignorant, kid. Shi looked up a bit and opened her mouth, saying, Uncle what do they say? I didn't see Lu Zhixu saving someone, who knows if there's anything else going on here. Her eyes were spinning around as if she was calculating something. Lu Zhixu stepped forward and said, I have a clear idea of what you're up to. Lu Erzwang, if you don't like me, we'll split up. Zhang was startled and was about to say something when she saw her eldest son give her a glance. Zhang was anxious, but still swallowed his words. Split the family. Lu Erzwang was startled and immediately panicked. No, we don't split. Shi also said, no separation. What's your peace of mind at this time of separation? I didn't say to separate you guys. Zhixu raised his eyebrows and smiled, as if calculating something. I'll separate Bauer and go it alone. Zhang's eyelids twitched, unable to imagine what it would be like for her daughter to go out alone with her child. She hesitated to speak, her lips trembling incessantly as she looked at Dazhuang. Dazhuang watched coldly, clearly much calmer than Zhang. The onlookers around were buzzing with discussions, as if they all felt that Zhixu's decision was a bit foolish. Erzhuang said vaguely, no, it's just that we can't split up. Zhixu, I'll tell you, this matter of you hitting me is not over. Oh, my face. He snorted and signaled to Shi, who helped Erzhuang walk back. They had just been beaten, but for some reason, their legs and feet became more agile than before, as if afraid that others would catch up with them. Zhixu sneered and said, there must be something wrong with these two people. They hate her so much and want her and Bauer to die, but they don't agree to split up. Her gaze fell on Geng and ChiLu again, and the two of them suddenly shrank and twisted their heads unnaturally, unwilling to look at her. There's no need to ask, they must also know something, and it's even very likely that they were the culprits. Reminder to the host, if the other person's heartbeat is too fast, it is a manifestation of heart deficiency. You remind me, I'm not blind. This time, I successfully saved someone and slapped Erzhuang in the face, which can be considered a successful slap, right? The points have been credited to the account, please check and confirm receipt upon closer inspection. Zhixu realized that in addition to the 50 points earned from completing SS-level tasks, there were also 10 additional points. The 10 points given in the previous beginner gift package have already been used up in the lottery, and now she has a total of 60 points. Gua! A exclamation of surprise interrupted Zhixu's train of thought. Everyone quickly looked at Gua and found him lying in Jiang Kuei's arms. His face was red, his eyes were tightly closed, his teeth were clenched, and he looked very unhappy. Quickly, put him down and check. The villagers all gathered around and said, why did you suddenly faint? Maybe I'm tired. After running so far with injuries, I came back to report and guide everyone, and finally came back with everyone. I'm sure I'm exhausted. Jiang Kuei placed the dog on the grass mat and touched his forehead. His face didn't look good and he exclaimed, I'm getting hot. Ah, what should I do? There is no doctor or medicine in the wilderness, isn't there? Zhixu walked forward and looked at the wound of the dog doll. Although it was simply cleaned with water, the area where the wolf scratched it turned red and slightly swollen, indicating that it was clearly infected. How are the others, big brother? Zhixu greeted, who else was injured from the person you used to search for water with before? Ask them all. This is a big deal. Dazhuang didn't delay and went immediately. Li Zhengdao was also with him. When the two met, 4 people in front and behind had severe injuries, with fever and swelling reactions. However, the dog doll was the most serious one. What should I do? It won't be contagious, will it? As soon as these words were spoken, the people who were originally gathered to watch the excitement nervously took 2 steps back. Gua's mother cried uncontrollably. When she was young, she gave birth to several children, but only Gua was alive. If Gua is not here, what is the point of her being alive? Li Zheng, what should we do now? Uncle Hua showed a hint of sadness. We can't just leave people behind, can we? What's going on? Uncle Hua is not a native of Shimen village. He moved to the village later and is single. Because he can read and write, he usually helps the villagers write letters and couplets, which is quite prestigious in the village. Lu Yinshan had a headache and sighed heavily before saying, you can't throw it away. Think of a way, it's really not possible. Let's go out and find medicine, find a doctor. As he was speaking, Zhixu arrived and brought the medicine drawn from the system. Uncle Air, this medicine is a knife wound medicine that can be applied externally or taken internally. Give it to the dogs and the others to try. Lu Yinshan was first delighted and then asked, "Where did you get the medicine?" Lu Zhixu said, "Before, my elder brother and his team often went up the mountain to hunt and chop firewood, so there was inevitably a bumpy one. This medicine is left at home before, and there isn't much left. I just don't know if it's useful. It's already this time, medicine is better than nothing." Lu Yinshan quickly had the dog doll and 4 other feverish people carried to one place, ready to feed them medicine. Gong remembered whether to eat or fight, and at some point she touched Guanyang's side again. At this point, her arm was already connected, but her hatred towards Lu Zhixu grew stronger and stronger. "What kind of medicine? Can you take the dead?" Gong said softly. Several pairs of eyes glared at her with anger at the same time. Gong shrank his neck, but still said, "Village chief, I'm doing this for the sake of the dog child. If I don't take this medicine, hold on for a while, maybe I can find a doctor tomorrow. But if I take this medicine and die, what should I do? Lu Zhixu doesn't know how to treat it." Guanyang also looked conflicted upon hearing this. Gua has already been burned like this, and it's not certain if she can survive until tomorrow without taking medicine. Aunt Chi's eyes are not good, but her ears are particularly sharp. She turned her head to look in Gung's direction. "Lao Han, have you died? You've been making your wife jump up and down all day, and haven't been beaten enough yet." Gung Shi looked dissatisfied and said, "Seventh sister, if you help Lu Zhixu, it's just to help her seek wealth and harm her life. Who knows what kind of medicine she has in her hand? If she can save people, even Sows can climb trees." Chapter 9. Lu Dazhuang's Doubts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aunt Chi is related to the Shi family, and in terms of seniority, the Shi family even calls her Aunt Chi. This time searching for water, Aunt Seven's grandson also went. It was because Lu Zhixu saved her grandson that she helped to speak. "Guanyang, what did you say?" The paparazzi wiped away her tears and said as if she had made a decision, "Lijiang, give the paparazzi medication. I don't understand anything, but the child is burning like this, and I feel heartbroken. Fever can kill people, and even the dogs are starting to talk nonsense. If we don't find a way, we won't be able to wait until tomorrow. Where can I find a doctor in these chaotic times? If we keep dragging on, even if we find the doctor, we may not be able to save lives. It's better to take a gamble. Gigi, let a dead horse be a living horse doctor. This is his fate. No matter what, I don't blame you." Although Guanyang is illiterate, she is a reasonable woman. She knows that Lu Zhixu can completely avoid taking this risk. Lu Zhixu took out the medicine and really wanted to save people. What kind of bad intentions can a person take the risk of saving people from the mouths of wolves? On the contrary, the Gung clan is the instigator who has nothing to do, and the two families are still related by marriage. This kind of person is also looked down upon by little girls. Lu Zhixu smiled calmly and said, "Okay. System, how is the dosage controlled?" "Dissolve a little water and take it orally." A little. It's really a vast and profound text. Lu Zhixu asked Lu Dazhuang to find a bowl, pour some medicinal powder into it, then dissolve it in water and give it to the dog child to take. Rinse the wound with water again, sprinkle medicine powder on it and simply bandage it. "How dare you eat it?" Gung exclaimed in amazement, his gaze filled with schadenfreude as he looked at Guanyang, as if saying, "Wait for Guanyang to be collected." The families of the other injured are still watching, hoping to see how the dog child reacts after taking the medicine. If it works, they will also take it. If it doesn't work, they will think of other ways. Zhang had some reservations about their attitude, whispering to Lu Zhixu that they didn't know what to do. Zhang has an inexplicable trust in his daughter, always feeling that everything Lu Zhixu does is right and has a certain reason. If the medicine doesn't work, how could she give it to someone else? Lu Zhixu believes that caution is right when it comes to life and death. They just don't want their loved ones to have any accidents, which is completely understandable. The dog doll took the medicine and soon began to sweat, and his hands and feet gradually warmed up. He stopped talking nonsense. After a while, Gongye exclaimed in surprise, all right, the fever has subsided. Everyone came over to take a look and found that the Gongye's face was no longer red, and the person looked normal. Although he hadn't woken up yet, his breathing was long and not as rapid as before. That's great, it's amazing. Miss Lu, your medicine is really amazing. Gung pursed her lips and turned back to her resting place. Zhang spat fiercely behind her and cursed, something without skin or face. The family members of several other feverish patients eagerly requested medicine from Lu Zhixu. Lu Zhixu responded one by one, mixed the medicine in proportion, and poured it down for everyone. For those with severe injuries, some medicine was applied externally. In the end, there was only a little powder left, which made Lu Zhixu feel heartbroken. This medicine has a miraculous effect and is not cheap. It sells for 60 points in the mall, and buying another one can make her lose everything. However, because she saved a few more people this time and hit Gung's face again, triggering the slap effect, she received 10 more points and had another chance to draw a lottery. The host can now draw a prize. My host is tired, let's talk tomorrow. She still has a big problem to solve. Lu Zhixu wanted to go back and rest, but was held in gratitude by Gongye and others. These people had some negative views on her before, but through her 2 saves, the villagers were grateful to her from the bottom of their hearts, which played down her unmarried childbirth and saved some reputation. Zhang, of course, was pleased to see his success, and even whispered to Lu Dazhuang that once he settled in a new place, his life would be easier to know. Lu Dazhuang seemed lost in thought, his gaze occasionally falling on Lu Zhixu, with a hint of exploration and caution. Lu Zhixu pretended not to see, took Bauer from Li's arms, leaned against a big tree, closed his eyes, and took a nap. Not long after, a smell of meat wafted from the campsite, and the village chief led his men to cook all the wolf meat. Although wolf meat is a bit harsh and not delicious, on the way to escape, it's good to have meat. What other taste would you choose? Lu Zhixu is not picky about food. She eats wolf meat porridge, very delicious. She left all the wolf meat stewed in the pot to Li Shi. This is her son's granary, so we can't neglect it. Just after dinner, Li Zheng came to find Lu Zhixu, and Lu Pingyan followed behind him, holding a pile of leather. His second uncle, are you? Zhang looked surprised. Sister-in-law, wolves are all fought with knowledge. According to the law, your family should have more wolf meat, even if it's all given to you, others won't be able to say anything. But when we came out to escape, I had a promise. Everyone found food and drink, and we had to chew them together with the whole village. We should take care of the elderly and the young, so that we could all survive. Zhang nodded and said, we have no objection, that's the reason. Although I can't give you the meat, I'll make the decision and give it to your family. Lu Yinshan leaned slightly to his side, and Lu Pingyan took 2 steps forward and placed the skin in his arms on the ground. This is a good thing, although it may not be as expensive as fox fur and mink fur, but its warmth retention effect is still good. In winter, using this thing to keep out the cold can't be better. Okay, then I'll accept it. Thank you, uncle. Lu Yinshan nodded and said, let's rest. We still have to hurry early tomorrow morning. Dazhuang, how are you doing? I'm fine, uncle. I'll take someone to watch the night, don't worry. Lu Yinshan smiled and patted his shoulder. You guard for the night, let the righteous lead someone to guard for the night. After saying that, he took Lu Pingyan back. Lu Dazhuang put away the wolf's skin, looked at his daughter and daughter-in-law, and gave a few instructions before picking someone to watch the night. Lu Zhixu hugged Bauer and took a nap, but it was actually a lottery draw. The big wheel kept spinning non-stop, and finally the pointer trembled and stopped on a grid. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the beginner level, active skill, and cooldown of 72 hours to bewitch people. This skill can enhance the host's bewitching power and increase its credibility by 20%. Yoha, isn't that a coincidence? Lu Zhixu closed his eyes contentedly, and for about half an hour, Bauer snorted twice. Lu Zhixu opened his eyes and touched the child, only to find that he had urinated. He quickly pulled out a clean cloth to replace the child. Upon hearing the commotion, Li sat up and said, "Zhi, bring the child over to me. It's time to breastfeed the child." Thanks to the Li family, otherwise this child wouldn't have had enough food to survive, which would have been a question. Bauer, you must remember how good your aunt is. When you grow up, be filial to your aunt. Li took the child with a smile and said, just teach him how old he is. Chapter 10. Heart-to-heart talks between siblings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After handing over the child to the Li family, Lu Zhixu got up and walked towards the distance. Li thought she wanted convenience and didn't say anything, focusing on taking care of the two children. Lu Zhixu cautiously moved his steps and soon saw Lu Dazhuang guarding the night not far away. He leaned against a tree with a stick, half of his body sinking into a shadow. As Lu Zhixu approached, Lu Dazhuang heard the footsteps and turned his head to see that it was her, slightly surprised. Knowledge. Well, big brother, I'll replace you. You go take a nap. Lu Dazhuang frowned and said, nonsense, there's no woman guarding the night. Li Zhengdao and they will come soon. Why can't women stay up late? I killed a wolf today. Lu Zhixu leaned against the other end of the tree and didn't speak anymore. Lu Dazhuang gave her a thoughtful glance and said, Zhixu. That. Lu Dazhuang felt a bit embarrassed. He had a lot of questions to ask, but when the words reached his mouth, he couldn't speak again. Big brother, you wouldn't want to ask Bauer's father again, would you? When the original owner was just pregnant, the house was bustling with chickens and dogs. Zhang cried every day, wanting her to have her child aborted, and wanting to know who the father of the child was. Until Bauer was born, the original owner never mentioned this matter. Can't you say it? Lu Dazhuang didn't mean to ask this, but he was also curious about who the man was, who would rather bear the curse of wearing pea shoes than give birth to a baby. Big brother, his identity. Lu Zhixu let out a pretentious deep sigh, you still don't need to ask. I know, it's not good for you, your mother, or our family. Just treat Bauer as if it was bestowed upon me by heaven and given to our family. In the original owner's memory, there was a memory that was not suitable for children. In the pitch-black cave, the man covered his face and couldn't see his facial features clearly. But that figure is really nice, with wide shoulders and waist, 8-pack abs, and a tactile sensation cough, let's get to the point. Can't you really say it? For the sake of our family's good, Lu Zhixu pretended to be sad and flattened his mouth. You should be my only child in life. After thinking for a moment, Lu Dazhuang said again, Zhixu, you're not afraid of fighting wolves today. That's a pack of wolves. Besides, I don't know when your martial arts have become so good. He tightly held the wooden stick in his hand, his palms sweating. Here we go. Only after passing the hurdle of Lu Dazhuang can she truly stand firm in this family. Brother, do you believe there are gods and ghosts in this world? Lu Dazhuang frowned and didn't understand why he had mentioned the gods, ghosts, and monsters again. What's going on? You can tell me what's going on first. Lu Zhixu quickly notified the system to use the bewitching skill. The skill has been activated, please start your performance with the host. After clearing his throat, Lu Zhixu said, these past few days, my illness has become inexplicable. Suddenly, I have developed a fever, which is a bit complicated. Lu Dazhuang looked at her with a puzzled expression on his face and did not speak. Big brother, don't you think I'm a bit sick and a bit well? This is quite true. Lu Dazhuang nodded and said, it's quite strange. A well-behaved person was still bouncing around in the morning, but suddenly fell ill in the afternoon. After struggling for 3 days, he only had one breath left and suddenly recovered. I have been dreaming about our family's guardian fairy. Bao family immortal. Lu Dazhuang heard about this for the first time. I haven't heard my parents mention it before. How could we possibly have Bao family immortal in our family? Lu Zhixu lowered his head and seemed to be feeling down. At first, I dreamt of our dad sitting in a chair without speaking, constantly smiling at me. I wanted to talk to him, I wanted to hug him, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get close to our dad. Her voice was very low, but every word that fell into Lu Dazhuang's ear was a shock. Our dad talked to me later. What did our father say? Lu Dazhuang's tone was a bit urgent. In the hearts of the children, Lu Jinshan was a towering mountain, even if it was just an unrealistic dream. Lu Dazhuang also wanted to know what his father had said. My father said, there is definitely this calamity in my life. It's our immortal testing me. If I survive, our future life will get better and better. If I can't survive, I might die. With the blessing of his bewitching skills, Lu Dazhuang believed. Is this robbery about Bao, or is it about your illness this time? Lu Zhixu said vaguely, they all do, but in my dream, I saw the appearance of a fairy. What does our Baojia fairy look like? She is an old lady with a kind eyebrow and a kind heart. She even said that our ancestors saved her. Lu Dazhuang was a bit excited, let out a sigh, and then lowered his voice for fear of being heard, saying, you forget, when we were children, my father didn't say that he once saved a fox near the Nyanyang temple when he was still a child. Remember. If she didn't know about this, she wouldn't know how to continue writing. Fox yellow, white willow gray, should our family's guardian fairy be the fox fairy? Lu Zhixu said with a serious expression, yes. The old lady taught me a lot in her dream, and I learned this kung fu from her. She also taught me some medical skills, as well as some small techniques from the immortal family. Big brother, this matter is of great importance, you must not tell anyone. I even kept this from my mother. Are you learning this kung fu from our family's immortal family? Lu Dazhuang swallowed his saliva. What are the methods of the immortal family? Gigi, there shouldn't be anything inappropriate, right? I heard that there are many rules for worshipping the immortal family. Could it be that we didn't express it, and the immortal was angry? Lu Dazhuang's cautious appearance seemed to have convinced him. I don't know if the ancients were too respectful of these things, or if the technique of bewitching people had an effect. Anyway, Lu Dazhuang has a deep belief in this matter. How could it be? In these days and years, even if we want to worship, we don't have that condition. Respecting in our hearts is stronger than anything else. Yes, you're right, Lu Dazhuang nodded. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this matter. Don't say anything about it either. Lu Zhixu gratefully said, Big brother, thank you. I'm holding things in my heart. Don't be so uncomfortable. Without you, I wouldn't even know who to talk to. Now I feel much better. Lu Dazhuang wished he could slap himself a few times. He had suspected his younger sister before, she was simply not human. Gigi, don't think too much about it. This is a good thing that no one else can ask for. But you have to be vigilant and never let this matter rot in your stomach. You can't talk to anyone about it. Lu Zhixu almost burst out laughing and nodded solemnly, Big brother, don't worry, I know. Okay, you go back and rest. Ah. Lu Zhixu then returned to the resting place of the Lu family, lying next to Li Shi, protecting Bao and falling asleep.